Welcome to part 2 of this repair on the on this KMART radio. Hopefully I could repair it. That is the game plan that we're going to try to achieve. In part 1 we heard the hideous noise that the radio is making. I thought that capacitor would clear that up. I was totally wrong. I've recapped this entire radio and I have cleaned all the controls, and it did not rectify the issue. Now, some of you fine folks jumped in and tried to guide me into jumping off a cliff and make sure I tie my ankles to a heavy boulder before I do so. No. Gave me some guidance. Told me this is probably going to be in the audio section, and also some kind of oscillation is happening. And in learning the craft, trying to understand cause and effect, I come to that conclusion as well, that yes, it has to be an oscillation issue. And the reason I come up with it, I'm not sure how or why you guys came up with it, but how I came up with it was simple. I'm smart. No. With this being a vintage rig and there's absolutely no IC chips in it, 1977 technology here, the finest, cheapest junk possible. After concluding, okay, this is not a cap issue, and when I turn the volume down, the noise is still there. And it definitely does not sound like a 60 cycle hum. It's definitely a lot faster. When I measure it on the O-scope, it does come up to about 100 hertz. And we'll see that here in just a moment. I concluded and deduced it to be a oscillation issue. I'm sitting here thinking, gosh, what can it be? You know, mains line is at 60 hertz. I'm reading about 100 hertz. So essentially we've doubled it. You know, what could have doubled that? And is the noise coming from the line? I don't know. Could this just simply be a part failure? And which is what I'm kind of thinking is happening, is a failure of, parts. So I'm sitting here thinking, what could oscillate in this radio? As stated, no IC chips. Well, the only thing to me, logically, is going to be transistors. Transistors act as power amplifiers, electronic switches, and oscillators. So, is it grabbing mains voltage from the transformer and double or nothing? I don't know. I would think that the noise is being filtered out before it gets to the audio stage, going through the power supply section. Not sure exactly how the chain of events in this happens. So we have we have two transistors in the power supply section. We have power supply coming in here. We have 3 wires coming off the transformer. We've got 2 wires coming here, the 2 red ones, and then this white one. And I measured between the 2 reds and the white to come up with a voltage that I don't remember. It's been a couple of weeks since I've dorked with this. So we are going to measure the 2 reds. I do have this plugged into an isolation transformer, and that is turned on. We do have power to the radio. Alright, so what's going on here? Oh, got that in DC. Need to switch to AC. Alright, so as you see, we got 10.9 something volts, red to red. And then if I measure red to white, we have 5.4 something there. And then we come over to the other red one, and we have 5.4 something there. So what I did was I tried to, I unsoldered this white wire and tried to follow its path into the radio. And I come up to the switch, and I'm navigating through all this stuff, and I get up into here, and I'm trying to find maybe, where things are breaking down at. I never did really find, get past the noise. So it's very plausible that this white wire does not go through either one of these transistors here. It's very plausible the line could come up here. And I apologize, I had the camera bumped out too far. You really couldn't see too swell. I left it out because we're going to look at the scope here in a minute. Anyway, so these are the two red wires right here. And then here's the white wire. And these come off of the transformer on the secondary side, back side. And these right here are the two transistors. I can't see the numbers that are on them. I think I'm going to go by a new moniker, whatever the word is. As some of you may know, I have vision issues, and over the summer I became legally blind in one eye, so I really can't see fine details. I could see big things, so if I'm going to hit a building, I'm going to be able to see that. But I couldn't begin to tell you what stripes on her frilly dress they were. Couldn't tell you that, what color they were. So I think the new moniker I'm going to go by, how about this? One-Eyed Jack. Yeah, One-Eyed Jack. I like that. That's cool. Okay, so seriously, getting back. And then right here in the audio section, we have two transistors there. Apologize if I'm a little slow at this. Having a hard time seeing this. So I'm just making sure that's it. So yeah, we've got just the two here, and I believe that this is just all my audio stage, and then over here is my IF and RF stage. And in this stage here we've got, pardon me, let me move the camera over a little bit so you can see exactly where I'm pointing. And I'm going to use my flashlight real quick so I can see, so pardon the extra light. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 transistors in the RF IF stage. So what I'm going to do, my plan of attack, is I'm going to start with your guys' suggestion, is go here in the audio section and start working in this area. Now I have probed the area, and no matter where I go with the probe, the oscope probe, I still see the noise on the screen. I don't see a before, I don't see an after. However, what I want to do is I'm going to pull these two transistors out. I want to see if the noise stops. Either way, once it's pulled out, once the transistor's pulled out, I'm going to test them with my Chinese, oh, you can't see it, my Chinese tester, and see what it do read. If it noise continues and the part checks good, I'll move on to my next one. Now, if these two check out good and the noise don't stop, then what I'll do is I'll go over here into the power supply section and try these two out and do the very same thing and see what happens. Alright, so what we're going to do next, for your pleasure, is we're going to hook up the oscope to the speaker, and then we will see it. I'm using, I think this is a Syncor probe. I have it on 1X. That's a 10 to 1X. So I got that there. Then going into the scope, I've got it plugged into a DC block and then into the scope. Since I'm working with one camera, I'm just going to have you look at the scope. You could use your vivid, wild, goofy imagination to envision that I'm just turning the switch on. That's all I'm doing. Like I said, we have mains already active, hot, and let me go ahead and turn the power switch on now. And I'm not going to add any audio. I'm just going to click it just past the clicker. And as you see, nothing. Now, here's another reason why I'm thinking that I do have part failure. You see, I've got nothing on the screen. It's not until I introduce noise or voltage into said part that the noise starts to happen. So, I don't know if that's because the transistor, if it is the transistor, needs X amount of voltage, what is it, 0.7, to start oscillating, to start working. But I think once it starts oscillating, if I turn the radio back down to this point, it doesn't stop. I actually have to turn power off. So let me turn it up just a little. Oops, I turned it off. Let me go the other way. There. Okay, now we're on, now we're up. And you see and you hear that. Now that's what the switch all the way down as far as it can go, backside of the click. And I'll turn the audio up. So you could hear and you could see that audio was introduced to the signal. And if you take a peek down here, right there, you could see that we are reading 100 hertz. And it's not until, oops, knocked the probe off the speaker. And it's not until I turn it off that it goes away, and I could replicate it. So now we're back on, and there's the noise. So again, I'm going to attack these two transistors in the audio section. Let me pull them out and we'll test it, both the radio and the part together, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so I got this transistor here pulled out. Let's see if we can get this in focus. Let me see if I can even find the camera. Alright, so that's a 9411 alpha. And as you can see, the characters prior on top are MJ. That's for Michael. Who? Oh, no, Motorola. I cannot find any data sheets for this part. So let's go ahead and see if I could test that. Alright, so I don't remember where I left off last. I think I showed you that I'd pulled this transistor out, and we got it right here. And I believe I did show you this already. We are the next day from that clip. You're going to notice the video angle's a little different today. Today in the workshop we have Mrs. VEG, and she will be helping me out today in trying to resurrect this radio. So if you hear her voice, don't think that I'm hitting puberty or something, or going backwards in puberty or something, or I've got very dainty hands. Nay, nay. It's the missus. What we're going to do is we're going to put this transistor in her transistor tester, and we're going to test it out and see what happens. Alright, so what we're doing here is we're putting the transistor into the component tester, and let's see what happens. Alright, well, we see that this one is working. Alright, so since that one there appears to check just fine on that tester, we'll go ahead and put it back in, and we'll pull out the next one to it, and then we'll test that. And we'll do that on screen for you. Been a few days since the last scene. Don't remember what last thing you saw, what we did. I think we were going to change out the transistor, pull it out and test it on the component tester and see what was happening. Unfortunately, when I clipped on the hemostats to it, they twisted and they ripped off the transistor. So won't be able to test that one. Legs are still in the radio. However, the neat thing is about the radio, we might be onto something here. Is if we turn the radio on, which it is, we have no buzzing coming out of the radio, no oscillating. So that may have been our problem. We unfortunately will not know. The transistor that was pulled out of there was a MJ 9411 alpha. And for the life of me, I cannot find any data on this transistor. Couldn't even find the parts. So after a couple of days of searching on the internet, I come across one site that mentioned a MJE 9411, and it gave me a cross-reference and a description, and the description was it's a NPN audio amplifier, which makes about sense since this is in the audio section of the radio. It says that it's cross-references a NTE 123 AP, which is still current and available. However, I did note during research to that this cross-references to a 2222. I don't have the 123 or the 159 on stock. However, I do have 2222 down there by my thumb in stock. So what we're going to do is I want to pull this transistor back out. Want to test it, want to write down the numbers and compare it to the 2222, and then we'll stab both of them back into place and see what happens, if we oscillate, if amplify, or what. So give us a moment to do that, and we will be back like that. Like that. Mine's defective, I forgot. Well, I've got good news and I've got bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? That's right, you're going to hear the good news. Good news is, got the transistor out. Bad news is, one of the legs on it broke. So, cannot test that to see if our numbers matched or anything. Went ahead and put in the two new 2222s. And bad news is it's been on all this time and we haven't heard a peep out of it. I would like to think that if the 2222s were not an exact replacement, that I would hear some kind of noise, good, bad, or indifferent, out of it. But it's completely deaf. So what I'm going to do next is we're going to tear apart another radio. We're going to stare at these two transistors and look at the leg placement, see how they are, and make sure that we got these in correctly. Really didn't take reference photos this time around on this radio. Didn't think I was going to need it because I just thought it was going to be a simple capacitor and control cleaning job, and that's it. Lesson learned for me, no matter how simple, take pictures before you start ripping and tearing. That would have been nice. But I do have a question to ask all of you, and that is, if you've got any information, a data sheet on a FJ, God, why do I keep saying F? A MJ 1911 transistor, share with me. Let me know. Just want to make sure I've got the right thing. I'm on the right track, right replacement part, etc., etc. But anyway, any data, any information, even if I do complete this project before I get this posted, or after I post it, whatever, it'd be great to have said document. Anyway, with that said, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. Yeah, me and the wife are the one that's working on this radio. So definitely give a big round of applause to Mrs. VEG. She's tackling this like a trooper. I'm just sitting here annoying the dog snot out of her is what I'm doing. Can't begin to tell you the many times she's threatened to take that soldering iron and jab it in my head. Leave her alone, she says. I'm serious. But anyway, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next installment of this video. And thanks for watching my channel. I do appreciate it. 7 threes until then. See ya.